On this week's episode of the Marketing Expedition podcast, I get to speak with Orsolya Herbein, and she's from Maryland and has a lot of great nuggets to share all about design and brand strategy and just things that you need to continue to remember and use in your marketing and branding as you go along. Orsolya's a self-proclaimed visual problem solver. Orsolya Herbein is the owner of Brand3, a virtual branding and marketing agency. And because of ineffective marketing, many businesses will never reach their marketing potential. And Orsolya believes that there is actually a right way to market. Her true passion is to transform brands from noisy to clarity and give her clients a tailored plan to help them engage and retain the right customers. But before we get into the interview with Orsolya, it's time now for the Marketing Essentials moment. The basics that you need to help you build your brand and your bottom line. In today's topic, I want to go over the value of using coupons. Now, there can be a risk to using them, especially if you use them too much or too often, because then customers are going to get accustomed to the fact that they're just going to wait for the next deal to happen before they actually buy from you. But we know that online, especially, customers are expecting to find some sort of coupon code somewhere or some promo code, and they know that they can exist and they want to use them towards their next online purchase. So oftentimes people will look for a promo code or a coupon code before they buy. And maybe they're already willing to buy from you, but then at the last second, right before checkout, they want to put in a promo code. And sometimes this is very valuable because what happens with the use of coupons, you can do a couple things. One, you can capture their information and get them to agree to having you send out more coupons or more discounts or more promotions or news things that they can use in the future. And they're giving you their first party data and information to do that. Sometimes if they purchase from you, they can purchase as a guest. They don't always allow it. They don't want more information, but if they're actively seeking coupons, it might be that they're looking for the next deal. So you have to do it unexpectedly and not always on a regular basis. It's kind of like when you want to go on a diet and you confuse your body thinking that it's gonna, have all these wonderful carbs and pastas, but then the next day you're going to have something different. So then your body is going to react differently. Well, same with the brain, right? We want to surprise and delight our customers and add value and give them perks when it's the right time to do it. And depending on your customer too, you have to get to know who your customer is. And of course, we're going to talk a lot about that in our interview soon, but I want to just kind of explain how you can use coupons to your advantage. Digital coupons, right? They're not going anywhere. People expect them now, especially during the pandemic when everyone was buying online. It's definitely a strategy to really think about how you can incorporate into your presence, right? So thinking about how you can use the discounts and promo codes and, buy one, get one, 50% off, the BOGOs, the things that you're going to get to attract your new customers. And definitely using coupons can help you attract those new customers that maybe hadn't thought about buying from you before until they found a deal or a coupon, right? And increasing the distribution to the right types of customers that you want to attract. Who are those ideal customers that you want to have use your coupons? The other advantage of using coupons is you can track them. You can have different promo codes on different websites or different offers, and then you can see which ones work well and which ones don't. Which ones are producing more results, which ones are getting used more than others, and why. Why are they getting used more than the others? And what can you do to, do another iteration and try the same tactic, but maybe tweak it just a little bit to get even better and better every time, right? So you can use those different promo codes to your advantage to see what's working, what's not, how you're reaching your customer, and then asking your customers those questions, right? What is it that they see value and why would they use them? Right? So we know now that it's set up to like 90% of consumers are using coupons. They want to feel like they've received a deal. People don't want to pay full price for anything if they can help it. And so thinking about how you can use those coupons to your advantage to make sure that those redemptions and the redemption rate is using what you need in order to continue to keep your business going and flowing, right? And we know that also shoppers say that they want coupons to be more available. They want the convenience. They want the ability to do it, right? And emails with coupons have a huge increase in open rates because you're offering something of value to them. And it's timely, right? You're reminding them, and maybe they won't use it right away. So making the expiration date extended just a little bit longer. And let me tell you, even if something's expired, if people still want to use that coupon, you might just let them because they came across it. It was ready for them to buy. Maybe when they first received it, they didn't buy. But then again, you have the urgency when the expiration date comes up. So you've got to weigh out the differences of being able to be allowed to use expired coupons versus not, right? And then being able to think about how you can be competitively priced. And then maybe you're going to outdo your competition because you've offered something of value to those particular customers that you really want to come through your proverbial doors. If it's brick and mortar or if it's click and mortar, right? So thinking about how you can make it very convenient and make out the checkout process very easy to use. And if it's a coupon on your phone, if you're at a brick and mortar, like how can you make it super, super easy for people to use it? And then rewards, right? The rewards programs. I mean, there's so many out there, and you can add them to your wallet and track them in the Cash App or wherever. It's just much more prominently used now than it was ever before. And of course, all those e-commerce platforms with those mobile coupons and all the different channels that you can use and track and use different codes to do so. Just think about how you can integrate this into your strategy, into your plan. And if you're a service-based industry, what can you do to offer value? Maybe it's not necessarily a discount coupon or discount promo code, but maybe it's, a free initial consultation, or it's a, enter for a chance to win a free consult with me. Or maybe it's, I don't know, something that's in alignment with a nonprofit that you're giving because of the do-good in you that wants to give, right? Just think about how you can use that to your advantage. And just, another thing to think about, if you've got some poor moving, slow moving items, what can you do if you need to get those off the shelves or the digital shelves, let's say, maybe offering those discounts to move that so that you can have room for bigger, better, or more higher selling items, right? Having those urgent 24-hour flash sales or, those types of things. I just bought a Halloween costume and it's in the middle of July, but it was a flash sale and I already know what I want for Halloween for our Shocktoberfest celebration in October. So I bought it knowing that I was getting 60% off. Now, if I would wait until the Halloween season, I know I'm going to have to pay more. So sometimes it's the urgency. It's here's the flash sale that you want to buy now because you're going to get a better deal than if you wait until the actual season that's happening. Same thing with airlines. They send out deals and savers and things that you can do when it's not the time to if you're going to buy for next year and you're thinking ahead, you want to buy those airline when they're on sale, right? So thinking about that. The other thing that it can also do is sharing those coupons and allowing them to be shareable so that you can boost that referral network of the referrals that you receive, right? And thinking about adding, the fear of missing out, that urgency factor I was saying, like that can be a huge conversion driver. And then another tactic to take, because we all want to hear from our customers. We all want to know what they're thinking, how they came to know about us. Where did they see us? How did they want to click on our site? Or, how did they hear about our service or our nonprofit, right? So getting customer feedback. So an example is take this 5-minute survey and get 20% off. Get a coupon if you take this survey, right? Or get a gift card or do something to give them value for their time and their feedback, because we know feedback is always a gift. And of course, you can target holidays. Black Fridays is something to start thinking about now, even though it's July, Christmas in July, right? Think about the things that you're going to do and the tactics you're going to take to get those customers through your store or online. And then you can also post to social media and have coupons and promos and incentives for people to want to share, and because sharing is caring, right? And then you can also do things like Facebook ads or text messages, short message codes, the SMS messaging. It's a great way to build your text list by offering those things out in the world. You can use affiliate links where discounts are offered and can be attached by using an affiliate link. And so customers buy, but you have people who are helping to promote your product or service through an affiliate link. So affiliate link sharing is really is close to word of mouth advertising and marketing that you're going to really get by utilizing that strong network of affiliates. They're promoting you, so why not, right? And it can help you reduce marketing costs and acquisition costs of new customers and all your ad spend, because other people, maybe influencers, are influenced and influencing others to say, you should really buy this product. And by the way, here's my affiliate link to do so. Yes, I get a little paid to do that. I have a whole bunch of those types of things, even for Peppershock. Peppershock.com/offers, by the way. You can go to peppershock.com/offers and see all of my affiliate links and all the products I endorse and want to be a part of as well. And then, of course, physical events, like you can do tickets where, I mentioned BOGOs, buy one, get one, or, kids get in free, or, whatever it is that you want to do to help offer those incentives to get new customers, and find ways to do it where it's going to exponentially increase your chances of getting those new fans, new customers, new shares, new likes, and all of the above. Okay, let's get into this awesome interview. You're in for a treat.
Welcome to the Marketing Expedition Podcast, an auditory journey through the latest in marketing, branding, and advertising. Now, here's your Marketing Expedition guide, Ray Allen.
Welcome to the Marketing Expedition Podcast. I'm your host, Ray Allen. I'm the president and CEO of Peppershock Media and the founder of the Marketing Expedition community. And today's guest, we have Orsolya Herbein. Did I say that right, Orshie?
Yes.
Oh, good. Thank you. That's always a fun challenge, is making sure we get the name games right. And people always say, my name wrong too. So hopefully I did it right.
You're good. You're good.
Well, let's share a little bit more about you and your journey and the things that make you do what you want to do.
Okay. So by trade, I'm a graphic designer. I went down the journey of, working for an ad agency at some point, then becoming an in-house designer, then getting extremely bored with being an in-house designer, and then going into freelancing. And when I was freelancing, one of my biggest clients was my current business partner, Matt, who was a brand strategist. And I think I first started working for Matt in 2009, and we partnered and put our businesses together in 2016. So he watched me grow my freelance business and raise my babies. And I learned all the brand strategy I know from him. And at this point, I just love building brands, and believe it or not, Rethink Marketing and the right way to market is really a facade for branding, because part of branding is to create an alignment with what your customers want. And my customers don't want branding. At least they don't know that that's what they want. They really want marketing. They really want to fix their marketing issues. So I had to kind of wrap myself in what my customers want. Mm-hmm. And that's how I look like a marketing company, and which we do, but we really are doing branding, and we really fix marketing problems by creating brands that engage an audience.
Okay. So you've been in business now with your partner since 2016. Is that what I heard you say?
Yeah.
Congratulations. You made it through a pandemic. So good job. That's awesome. Way to go. So,
Thank
okay,
you.
let's
we don't take time to give kudos for our little wins,
It's right. That's true. I know. It's always easy to focus on the things that are not always positive. So I hear you. So let's share maybe an example or a sample of something that you've done for one of your clients that you're super proud of that you'd like to elaborate a little more on.
Okay. So like I said earlier, a lot of our clients walking to our doors because they have a marketing issue. They feel like they're spending too much money, or they're getting unqualified leads, or they're getting stuck with it, or they don't have time for it, or they're spending too much time and money on it and not getting enough returns. So there's usually some major issues relating to the brand when marketing doesn't work. One example is, let's go to this company called Architectural Materials Inc. Okay, that's their name. You can imagine what they're doing based on the name. And I'm going to tell you that you're wrong because, and this is a very typical problem, right? So they are called Architectural Materials Inc. By the time I met them, they already figured out that they refer to themselves internally as AMI, and their clients refer to them as AMI. So they had this logo which said AMI, and underneath they've written out Architectural Material Inc., right? And they came to us because they wanted to do marketing. They wanted to do a brochure and hire a salesperson to go out and sell and bring more customers in. And it took me a while, but I figured out that they are actually a commercial door company.
A commercial door company. Huh.
They sell doors, and they deal with designing openings on these large construction projects, right? So needless to say, rebranding them from AMI, Architectural Materials Inc., which means nothing to nobody,
right?
To AMI Complete Door Solutions was alone a huge win, And then on top of it, coming in and realigning the message to speak to their audience, which is a general contractor who has this massive construction project, and doors is a little problem that they have amongst many, many other things, and positioning AMI as a company who can take that, at least the door burden off their shoulder, and make sure that it's going to be done right the first time, right? So that's what they're proud themselves doing, that unlike other door companies, they do the measurements, they do, they do like this thorough checkup, and then they check materials, and there's some design elements that they examine and all that. So usually, there's no hiccups, and hiccups is what's causing the general contractor to have anxiety, because he has a budget and a timeline. And if the doors at least are on a smooth rail, he's going to be happy, because there's a million other things that's going to fall off the schedule anyways, right? So that's kind of what I'm talking about when a brand that's really designed to engage an audience and speaks clearly to the market can solve marketing problem. Because what I said to AMI, that I'm not going to design a brochure for you because it's not going to work. Your sales rep still would have to speak so much and then leave behind a brochure that is confusing, and your identity doesn't speak about doors, et cetera, et cetera. So what I'm going to do is first fix the foundation, and then we can go to the second floor, So that's kind of an example on how, we help business owners rethink marketing and really rethink it in terms of brand, and really take them back a step. Because, when you just go and market, and you never done that foundation work to connect with an audience and elevate the value that you bring to them, then you're going to waste a lot of money and time on marketing that doesn't work.
Absolutely. I agree. I can relate. We had a client one time that their name was Pro Care Therapies, but you would think therapy, like, counseling or like, whatever therapy. Well, what they actually were a medical, durable medical equipment rental company. So they had durable medical equipment that assisted people with different types of physical therapy or, so we rebranded and did ProCare medical equipment, which says their name 100 times better, right? Yeah, I can absolutely relate.
There's a curse in the creative, right? Because we all want to be, creative and have cool names like Nike and whatever. But what Nike has is what you and I and a lot of our listeners don't have, is millions and millions of dollars to throw at marketing to saturate the market and come out of the tap everywhere. Yeah. So if you were to be called Nike, the very least I would have a descriptor under it called athletic gears or something that allows somebody to put you in the right category in their brain, right? Mm-hmm. So, sometimes being literal for small business pays off big time because you're immediately able to weave off a bunch of unqualified leads for not calling you and asking you about setting up a therapy appointment, right? When you're a company,
Right. Or architect, right? People looking for architecture when it's not anything to do with it. Yeah. Yeah. It amazes me. I mean, our name is Peppershock, but we have Peppershock Media, and originally it was Peppershock Media Productions, and so at least people have some indication of what it means, and it's the idea to give some little nuggets so people understand, so that they aren't, like you said, calling for things that aren't necessary for them and wasting time and energy. And plus it helps with keyword search too. If you have a little bit of an indication of what it is that you do on your website, on your, social media, all those places, right?
Yeah. It's 100% true. When we talk about SEO, they're going to search for, people who want medical equipment rental, that's what they're going to search for. They're not going to search for therapy,
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Same thing with people who want doors. They're going to search for doors, door supplier near me or whatever, but they're not going to search for architectural materials.
Yeah.
It's a far stretch,
Yeah.
So sometimes literally is better.
Yeah. Well, that sounds good that you could get them back on course. And I imagine things are looking up for them. And so now you can carry this story forward and use it as a case study to help get more new clients that you can help in other ways too. Do you have any other examples of people that you've helped or, businesses that you've helped along the way?
Yeah. There was a landscaping company that had their name, they're called Woodfield Landscaping, right? And the owner came in and they wanted, very proudly saying that they wanted an ad in a high-end magazine because they're serving the elite customer. And during the conversation, we found out that they build these incredible outdoor living spaces. It's like a paradise in your backyard type situation, but they're called Woodfield Landscaping, right? So not only that, but they look like your local landscaper, and for them to show up in this high-end magazine, so, going after customers who look at brands like Prada, Porsche, BMW, Lexus, like all these like luxury brands, it just wouldn't work. So, they need to be rebranded to really project an image that will be desirable for that elite audience. And, we need to kind of apply a luxury brand look and feel and messaging to their brand before they went to market. Putting an ad in a magazine like that is $10,000. You're wasting that money because nobody's going to call you.
Right. Well, they'll call you to get their lawn mowed, tree trimming, not building an outdoor oasis. That sounds amazing.
Those projects are $150,000 projects. You're not going to drop you're not going to drop that amount of money with a company that you don't perceive as trustworthy, right? So there's a quality of message, there's a quality of image, there's that the consistency that shows up from website to truck to the gentleman walking in your door and shaking your hand and representing your brand. You know, it's how brands build trust, and trust is the number one driver of for engagement, right? So you know, that's kind of why this is so important to consider your ideal customer and really project a brand that is perceived by them as value, and then they are able to engage with you.
So tell me about who your ideal client that you would be your dream client to work with.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, for me, my ideal client is a business owner who has a business that maybe have plateaued, like, you know, they have a really great product or service, right? But they kind of plateaued in growth, right? And I think they have a tired brand. You know, they have maybe never done it. Some friend of a friend did it in the basement with the logo.
Yeah.
Then some website guy built the website. Then somebody else over there is doing SEO. All their tactics are kind of siloed. There's no unified plan that brings you know, a holistic view of marketing that takes into consideration brand, customer experience, and marketing. But they're kind of siloed everywhere. They're not seeing any returns on their marketing. Now, also the personality of this owner is somebody who relies on trusted advisors. I've met business owners who know everything and they want to micromanage everything. Those people are very hard to work with in my line of business.
Difficult.
Well,
Yeah.
because my specific line of business is very relational. You know, it's not a transactional business. You're not coming into my store, buy branding and then leave. You know, you're going to come into my you know, business and you're going to stick with us for years to come, because it takes time to build a brand, and it takes time to test the brand, and it takes time to educate your team or onboard your team, etc. Right? So we're looking for companies that rely on help of experts, and you know, a business owner who surrounds themselves with advisors. Not everybody has the same need. You know, a transactional business, a B2C business will look for something else in an ideal customer. So, you know, it is just very important for you to consider that. And one of the easiest way to consider your ideal customer or kind of find out who it is look at your customer's base and think about your favorite customer. The one that's just so easy to work with. They always pay the bill on time. They are not fussing around about, you know, this and this and that. They trust you to do what you're good at, you know, or whatever have you. And let's actually name that person. And maybe that person's name is Erica. And, you know, I asked the question, what would happen to your business if tomorrow you had 50 Ericas wanting to do business with you, ready to sign on the dotted line to contract, and they could just glaze over and kind of, wow, that would be so amazing. Great. So the job is to build a brand that will invite Erica to do the business with you. And so we need to find out everything we can about Erica and build a brand that will speak to what she values, right? So that's really the secret sauce on making marketing work, in my view. A lot of time, tactics are the right things. You know, these businesses are failing at getting the right leads and failing at getting the return on marketing, even though they're doing the right tactics. The tactics are correct, but the brand is what's not engaging.
What kind of things do you do to really hone in on knowing Erica? I mean, that's the hard thing, is like, you can make assumptions, but what are some tactics you've taken to really understand the target audience, right? I mean, surveys, you know, what are some things that you've done in the past?
Well, the easiest way is to ask Erica herself to tell us what she values, right? So, you know, like, describe your life before we came into your life, Erica, then describe it after. And that's how, that's how you got Erica from point A to point B, whatever she values. Sometimes it's a journey, sometimes it's a product, sometimes it's, a product that will solve something for somebody. It saves times or saves money or allows them to do things more efficiently or whatever have you, right? Let them tell you those things and ask some other customers as well. Tapping into the voice of the customer is the number one way for you to identify on what way your existing customers that love you and you served well perceive the value that you deliver to them. And then you need to kind of take that into consideration and throw it back to, but is this what the business owner envisions, right? Because sometimes there's a disconnect, right? So the customer sees you this way, but the business owner wants to go here. So we can design perceptions, we can fix perceptions, we can fix internal things that will create perceptions, right? So it's all about a conversation. And this is why it is so hard to do branding as a DIY, because you're too in it. You need that outside perspective in order to see it clearly. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think that if business owners could let it go a little bit and trust those that are, have been in the industry, that have the experience, that have the knowledge, that can, have that outside perspective looking in and then understanding what their clients want, because sometimes the business owner is not their ideal client, and so just because the business owner likes something doesn't necessarily mean that Erica will like it, right?
Yeah. And that's why it's so important to put your shoes in that person's shoes that you're serving, right? Because the business owner might want to say these very technical words on the website, but Erica herself does not know what those technical words mean. Erica wants to grow her business. Erica wants to save time. Erica wants to be less frustrated with her dog or whatever her, whatever is that you are offering as a service, right? Right. It's not going to help Erica that you flaunt gigabytes and terabytes and whatever. Right. It doesn't mean anything to her. We have to translate what you deliver into marketing language so that it can engage an audience.
Absolutely. It's true. I wish everyone would know and listen to this so that they could glean from this and use it to their advantage. Now, a message about our sponsor, Stitch Fix. Stitch Fix is personalized styling for men, women, and kids that sends clothing to your door. Get clothing hand-selected by their expert stylist sent to your doorstep. You try on the pieces at home, buy your favorites, and send back the rest free of charge. Skip hours of browsing and going to the store. Get Stitch Fix's experts to style and curate pieces just for you. And our listeners get a $25 credit to try Stitch Fix. There's no subscription required and shipping is free. So go to peppershock.com/offers and select the link to Stitch Fix and you'll get your $25 on your first order. Let's talk a little bit more about you. So where are you originally from? And tell me about your history, your past, what got you where you are. I want to know more.
Yeah. So I was born in Hungary and I moved to the US when I was 17. As a child, I always loved art, but I knew I wasn't a Picasso to make a living off of art. So when graphic design came along, I was actually really happy. And I found myself actually thriving on the challenge of being boxed in with my creativity. Graphic design puts a limit on stuff because, I have to translate these big ideas and put it into little icons. Yeah. I have to, it's almost like I'm in a business of minimalism, right? What else can I take away so it's less noise and more clarity and it's more retainable in a time and place where this needs to go, where literally someone will look at it for 3 seconds. And that's all I have to make a connection, right? So it's like the business of minimalism on like what I do, and being creative within those frameworks of like, not only my client has to be happy, but it has to fulfill a purpose, a function. It has to communicate certain things, in some cases many things, in very little words, so that it's retainable. So I enjoy working within those boxes. And it's gotten to a point where I literally can't do art anymore. I joined an artist group down the road. It's an art garage, and they're like, let's go and experiment with ink today. And the entire time I'm like, we are making a Christmas present, right? Or this is gonna be like my mom's Mother's Day gift or something. Like everything has to have a function, because otherwise I feel like I'm just wasting my time. Like, what do you mean experiment with ink? And then what? Like, and then just be done, like, and not be done? Like, did we actually do anything? It's like, it's the curse of a designer, I guess. I can't.
It's going to get you out of the box, out of the boxes.
Yeah, it's really good to get out of the box, but I was just chuckling, especially my artist friends are chuckling, like, okay, yeah, you're such a, it's the designer syndrome. Like, everything has to function,
Yeah.
That's why I call myself a creative or a visual problem solver. My job is to take big ideas and concepts and put it into things that will communicate it without overwhelming somebody, or without, being in a way that it's actually not going to communicate because I wrote a novel, and that's not going to work, So anyways.
No, I think it's actually, it's really good though, because sometimes we get designers, like we have interns that come to Peppershock, and they are very artistic, very creative, but in a term to then translate that into marketing, sometimes they don't always coincide. I mean, you can look at this beautiful piece of artwork that they've spent all this wonderful time on, but then, is it going to be impactful? Is it going to, have a story to tell? Is it going to, inspire and make somebody do something because of what you've communicated in your visual, artistry, right? So you're right. I think it's a good thing that that's how you operate, especially in your line of work and for your business. And you're right. After you do these things for a long period of time, you start to think of how, like, the end would keep, thinking with the end in mind. Like, what is this going to do? How is this going to impact? What are they going to, feel? Or are we going to get them to do what we want them to do because they've seen this? And yeah, so sometimes making those connections for our young designers, hopefully they're listening so that they can, understand that they have to, make it function.
Exactly. And we have interns too, and I actually love working with the interns too, and that's something that I'm teaching them on a constant basis. Like, hey, is this signage that you made beautiful? Yeah. Will it work? Absolutely not, because you know why? It's actually a billboard. It's gonna be hung on the side of I-95, and people are gonna drive by 65 miles an hour in it, and I can't read that from there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You design something that, maybe the customer will pay thousands of dollars to put up, and it will make zero return.
Right.
Because nobody
legibility.
Yeah. And I know that you hate that it's big type, but it has to be. Otherwise you're not gonna, then what is that big, and can you make it still beautiful? That's the challenge. Make it beautiful and still function, right? And you gotta know where your items end up, right?
Functional beauty. Let's call it that. That's our new term for today.
Exactly.
Okay, so let me ask a few more questions for you. Where do you hope to see your business go and grow, and what's next for you?
Well, I have a vision of transforming 1 million business brands from noise to clarity. And if that is attainable, then I want to change it to 1 billion. And the truth is, Ray, that it's not going to happen by me doing it. It's going to happen by, exactly like this way,
Yeah.
people listening to this, taking knowledge from here and then doing marketing the right way, which is really fixing and creating clarity inside brands that allows customers to engage with organizations. And that's my, like, to me, it doesn't matter if Brand3 does it. It doesn't matter if I do it or if my team does it. The more designers think like that, the more they are putting a dent in my vision. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's my way of thinking, is, to achieve that vision is to talk about it. And I really discovered that I have a teaching bone, and I love our interns, and I love mentoring young graphic designers and marketing students, and passing this on, because they don't teach this in school. And 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 uh, and again, whether they join my team or they go and do it on their own, the more of us do it the right way, the the less marketing waste there is out there. And really, that's what I want to fix. I just think it's so sad, because all that money goes to these billboards that are unreadable, or maybe they spend thousands and thousands of dollars on leather the truck, and the truck is great, and it was designed by the vehicle graphics company, but then you go to the website and the website looks nothing like the truck. It's not even the same logo, right? So immediately you put a dent in the trust that you could have developed with that customer. And again, trust is the number one driver for engagement. Just because you are not consistently presenting your brand across your materials. We learn that from big national brands, that that consistency, that impeccable consistency of being red if you're Coca-Cola or Target, and green if you're Starbucks, those things matter, because that's what helps you trust that brand, that they show up always the same way. They create always the same feelings. They have always the same type of message, right? And again, those large organizations have the luxury to deviate or run really interesting campaigns with the polar bear or something like that, and then whatever have you. But it's not something a small business have the luxury of doing. You don't have that much money to saturate the market. What you have is the ability to stay consistent from your social media to the website, to the business card, to the sales sheet, to the folder, to the truck. And that alone will take you so much further, because now your prospect has seen the business card, social media, and the truck. They've seen it 3 times with the same message. Now they start remembering your name and your logo and your colors. And retention happens with the frequency of those materials. Now, in the big world with the big monies, retention happens by the Geico ad coming up 3 times in 1 hour because they can afford it. You can't afford it. At least stay consistent within your materials,
Yeah, don't
and
waste your money.
Speak value. Stop talking about yourself and start talking about how you solve a problem to your customer,
Absolutely. So who are some people that have mentored you or inspired you along the way?
So my business partner, Matt, he is 20 years older than me, and he is the one I learned brand strategy from. And he planted this seed in me, and really it's blossoming. I feel like it. I've became a brand strategist, and I absolutely love it. And I love this clarity that we created inside Brand3. I love the results that we're getting for our customers, the transformation that we are bringing to them. So Matt is a huge part of the lead I'm following, right? But along the way, I'm a really big fan of Marty Neumeier, who wrote this book called The Brand Gap. He's the one who taught me that brand is a perception, that brand really happens in the mind of an audience. And I feel like that's so true. It's not your logo, it's not your website, it's not your messaging. It is really the perception that happens in the mind of the viewer and the feelings that you create for them. And the desires to engage with you or not engage with you. You know, if you're confusing, they're going to leave right away, right? So Marty Neumeyer is pretty amazing. And let's see. And then I'm very much, you know, now not only a designer and a brand strategist, but a business owner. Mm-hmm. So I'm very much inspired by people like Simon Sinek. His book, The Infinite Games, is mind-blowing. And, you know, that's kind of where I got this idea of I don't have to do and fulfill my vision. I can be a part of my own vision, or you know, I can even follow somebody else's vision, because business is not a game that you can win like a football game. It's not a finite game. It's an infinite game. And really there's ups and downs, and we should expect those. But the infinite game's purpose is to stay in the game, right? So whether we are down or up, how do we stay in the game? And I think that's such an important message to business owners who, you know, would crumble. But you know, Sinek really encourages business owners to keep their vision forefront, because when, you know, then there's a lot of examples in his big books when big businesses changed leadership and went from really trying to live out a vision to being more about the bottom line and profit, and create these dog-eat-dog cultures when employees were, fighting against each other, and it was all toxic. And then how the business plummeted then, and then it needed to be revived with the vision. And some of them couldn't be revived. They just went out of business, etc. You know, so, but, you know, I'm very much inspired by leadership books and you know, it's Gary Vee, for example, who's just so real, you know, like it doesn't get any realer than Gary Vee. Right. But, you know, I love that kind of the ability to learn from experts. And, you know, Gary Vee's big thing is empathy. And that's one of my top strengths. I took a strength finder test. Mm-hmm. It is empathy that makes the world, you know, empathy will make you a better business leader, a better employer, a better branding person, right? Because you're able to then empathize with your client and with your client's client. Mm-hmm. And empathy is something that you can actually truly practice. You know, some of us are given it as a gift, but everybody has the ability just to take a moment and really try to imagine how the world looks like from somebody else's perspective. And that's something that you can practice along the way. And I highly recommend that being somebody that, you know, something that you try to do as often as possible.
Yeah, no, I think that's a lot of what you're saying is very true on the empathy side, to be empathetic and understand from somebody else's, you know, perspective, and step in somebody else's shoes and really identify. Sometimes I think our business owner clients need to remember that and you know, use that to their advantage, because they're not always their own target. So you have to make sure that they can relate a lot more with who it is that they want to target and go after. Okay, so a couple more questions. What are some marketing strategies and tactics that you take in your own business for your own purpose?
Well, have you ever heard of the shoemaker's kids don't have shoes?
Yes, I do.
The marketing company that doesn't really market, because honestly, you know, I don't really have time for that. I think, you know, because my business is relational, this is the type of things that I do. I go to networking events, I meet people, I hang out on podcasts, I very specifically reach out to universities and try to get interns so I can pass on this message. Primarily, and you know, this is not something that works for everybody, my marketing strategy is to serve my customers with integrity, openness, transparency, and you know, authenticity. Mm-hmm. and really bring as much excellence into our work as possible. So, you know, I would get referred. And that has been, you know, something that works for me. I'm not spending a tremendous amount of money on marketing, but I'm spending a tremendous amount of time talking about what I feel like I'm an expert of. And I'm not afraid to give away free advice or guidance or anything, because ultimately, Ray, I think the purpose in life is to be there for others. And, if I can contribute, or if I can even, just listen, right, and make a difference in someone's life, I feel much more fulfilled than any other thing, like, profiting really big on a client or whatever is to me less satisfying than really just making a difference in someone's life, and it could be from as little thing as like, hey, I'm going to somewhere tomorrow and I need a flyer. And I'm like, it takes me 5 minutes to do a flyer, especially if I have everything relating to your brand already there, just no worries. And they're so appreciative, right? And it helps them, look better, or they feel better about themselves going, whatever have you. To, my neighbor down the road is lost their dog, and then we're going out to look for the dog or whatever, and it's like whatever way you can contribute to society and really have this worldview of, life is bigger than yourself. And really, I think joy really truly comes from being there for each other, being there for others in whatever capacity I can. And sometimes I can't because I have a headache, or I'm tired, or I need a nap, or whatever it is, but, just being honest all the time and being authentic, I feel like that's what makes the world go around.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay, last question for you. Fun, fame, or fortune, you only get to pick two. You can't have all three. Which would you pick?
Fun, fame, or fortune? Is that even a question? I would definitely go with fun.
Fun. Okay, fun is one. Now you get to pick, so fortune or fame?
So I'm going to go with fortune, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because I feel like, financial freedom would allow me to be there for others more.
I love it.
Awesome. I don't need to be famous. I can be like in a box hiding in a corner. It doesn't matter. But, I want to be there for others. So, I don't need fortune for myself, but I would be able to then give it away.
Yeah, I got you. I love it. All right, Orshie, thank you so much for coming and joining and sharing your wisdom with us today, and this message that I hope a lot of people get to hear, and it's so true. So thank you for giving us your wisdom and your time. And any last thoughts or anything I didn't ask you that you wanted to share?
No, I mean, if your listeners want to connect with me, I'm assuming you're gonna put my information on the page. I have a difficult name, but I can be found on LinkedIn. You can message me, and our website is brand3.net. And there's a schedule a call button that goes directly to my calendar.
Very good. Very good. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And for those of you listening, please feel free to share this and give us some reviews. And if you liked what you heard, make sure that you share Orshie's message today. And until next time, everybody, enjoy your marketing journey.
Thanks for listening to the Marketing Expedition podcast. Want to continue the journey? Don't miss out on new episodes. Subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. Wouldn't it be great if there was one place you can go to get all the latest information and tips about marketing and advertising? The Marketing Expedition community is that place. People like you gather in our online community to build relationships with others and find the latest marketing trends, tactics, tools, and technology. We help you build your brand and your bottom line. Start your adventure today. Visit themarketingexpedition.com to find out more.